I believe in the checks and balances of American government. I believe they worked on January 6th. So if you're asking me, do I think that Trump has bad intent or could have bad intent with that sort of stuff? Sure. Do I believe that the guardrails held and will continue to hold? Also, sure.
Wow. So you're saying that, if essentially saying that Trump has bad intent, Trump intends to do bad things, Trump has done bad things, but because the system doesn't allow him to do those things, then it's okay, it's fine. We can just let this man who is trying to test the system all the time, is trying to test whether the system will hold. This is insane.
The notion that Donald Trump coordinated any such insurrection is belied by the FBI itself. The FBI put out a report in, I believe it was August of 2021, suggesting that there was no well-coordinated insurrectionist attempt coordinated by the White House. In fact, what you had was Donald Trump thrashing around like that weird alien in the movie Life. I don't know if you ever saw it with Jake Gyllenhaal, or he's like kind of thrashing up against this glass box, just an alien just thrashing up against the glass box. That I think is more what you were seeing from November 4th to January 6th.
But why does it have to be well coordinated for him to have any substantive value? If someone tried to kill a person and they're unsuccessful, when it gets to court, are they going to say, well, we need to dismiss this case because there wasn't a coordinated attempt, this person just acted alone, maybe he just acted at the spur of the moment, but the intent was to kill? Whether it was coordinated or not, whether it became successful or not, is irrelevant to the fact that this thing this person did was wrong and terrible. So Trump's lack of coordination shouldn't be a shield for him, shouldn't be a plus for him. He did try to stop a legal process from proceeding. As you yourself have said, he said many things that were factually incorrect and said many lies. So in that instance, it's totally irrelevant whether it was a coordinated attempt.
And then again, the claim that January 6th itself was an insurrection. So virtually, I'm not aware that anyone was charged with actual insurrection. There were some people who were charged with seditious conspiracy. There are insurrection statutes that do exist. No one was charged under those particular statutes. There were some people who you could say informally had insurrectionist ideas. Those would be the people who wanted to hang Nancy Pelosi or kill Mike Pence. And those people are in jail right now.
Those people are in jail and Trump is promising to pardon them. So if Trump is going to pardon people like that, what does that say about Trump?
And the election went forward. The election was certified. Mike Pence presided over the certification. Mitch McConnell presided over the certification. Joe Biden has been the president for the last 3 years. So Donald Trump, by the way, was still president at that point. If he had actively wanted to do what other people who have actually launched coups have done, he would have theoretically called the National Guard not to put down the riot, but to actually depose the sitting government of the United States in the name of a specious legal theory. He did not do that. He did not attempt that. Nobody working for him did that.
Just because Trump tried and failed does not mean that he's innocent. He tried and failed. So that's evidence of him not doing anything wrong. Makes no sense.
The most you can say, I think, about what everybody was doing is that, and I want to say everybody. We can talk about Trump because this is really about Trump. He used a phrase that Trump was disseminating knowingly false information. The word that's carrying a lot of weight there is the word knowingly. So knowingly implies a knower. Do I think the information he was disseminating was false? Yes. Do I think that Donald Trump has a unique capacity to convince himself of nearly anything that is to his own benefit? Absolutely. And I think that that's actually what Donald Trump was doing there. And the evidence of that is Donald Trump being a human and all of us watching him for the last several years.
Human? Being ignorant is you just chalk it up to him being human. No, ignorance of the law doesn't mean that you get a pass. If you've broken the law out of ignorance, you don't get a pass just because you didn't know that the law existed. If not, every criminal could just claim that I'm not aware that this is a criminal or this is against the law. Anybody can break the law and just claim ignorance. So this defense is weird and doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter whether or not Trump knew that the information was passing out there was false, and he most likely knew that the information he was passing out there was wrong, was false. People around him knew that. So, and that doesn't make him human. That makes him a narcissist for him to know that he lost the election. Until today, he's still claiming that he won that election.
Would we not be worried that a guy that tried to essentially steal the election for real wouldn't try to pick people that would be more amenable to his plans in the next administration?
I believe in the checks and balances of American government. I believe they worked on January 6th. So if you're asking me, do I think that Trump has bad intent or could have bad intent with that sort of stuff? Sure. Do I believe that the guardrails held and will continue to hold? Also, sure.
Wow. So you're saying that, if essentially saying that Trump has bad intent, Trump intends to do bad things, Trump has done bad things, but because the system doesn't allow him to do those things, then it's okay, it's fine. We can just let this man who is trying to test the system all the time, is trying to test whether the system will hold. This is insane. You are literally admitting that this guy had bad intent. That should automatically disqualify him from ever seeking office again. Someone who has bad intent against a duly constituted electoral process, you still want that guy?
So if somebody was running and they blatantly said, like, I don't want to use the fascist word, but if they said, like, I want to be an authoritarian, I'm going to abolish all elections, you would say, sure, he's saying that, but like, I don't think he can actually do it. So it's okay if he runs for president. You don't care at all as long as you feel like the guardrails.
I mean,
are
I
there
might
to
prefer
prevent.
other candidates, but I think that also one of the things that you do is that politicians, again, this would be an exceptional circumstance, but politicians constantly make promises about the things that they are going to do and then don't fulfill. And we tend to take those out in the wash, meaning that, you know, if I promise that day one, as Donald Trump has pledged to do, that he's going to deport literally every illegal immigrant to the country, do I think he's actually going to do that? I mean, I really highly doubt it. He didn't do it last time he was in office. That's just, there are many examples of this.
But that doesn't make any sense. So are you supposed to vote for a politician based on what he promised that he's going to do but is not going to do? What exactly are you holding him by? Him not keeping to his promises afterwards, it's one thing. But to say that going into that interaction, going into saying, I'm going to vote for this person, even though what he's saying things that I know he's not going to do, doesn't make any sense. He's not going to keep his promises, but you're voting him because of those promises, and you know he's not going to keep those promises, then what's the point of voting that person? It makes no sense. So we're supposed to not take Trump at his words, but somehow we're still supposed to take him seriously. We're supposed to say, nah, all the crazy stuff he's saying, nah, he's not going to do any of those things. But at the other hand, we're supposed to say, he's going to do something reasonable. This man is literally telling you, this is what I want to do. And any reasonable person they're going to judge you by your words. So, I mean, it's like a job interview. It's like you're going into a job and you're being asked certain questions that pertain to the job. And you're answering the question and say, yeah, this is how it's done. But, if you give me the job, I'm not going to do it, but this is how it's done. But I'm not going to do it anyway. And you expect that the person who's interviewing you for that job to still give you the job after that. That's essentially what Ben is saying. Ben is saying you can walk into an interview, tell the people that are interviewing you that when you get this job, you're not going to do the things that you are employed to do. And then you still get to get the job. Makes no sense.